The honourable member from St. Albert, Edmonton.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to follow up on a straightforward question that the Minister of Employment refuses to answer, and that is, how much has the Minister been paid by Navis Group since the Minister was appointed to Cabinet? The Minister's dealings with Navis Group raise serious ethical questions, including whether the Minister broke the law by contravening the Conflict of Interest Act. Navis Group is owned by the Minister's business partner. The Minister was receiving and continues to receive payments from Navis Group. As the Minister was receiving these payments, Navis Group was lobbying the Minister's own department and managed to secure $110 million in federal contracts for its client. This has all the markings of self-dealing, conflict of interest, and corruption. When the Minister of Employment appeared at committee on the estimates, I asked the Minister about his shady arrangement with Navis Group, and the Minister said, "There's nothing to see here. It's all above board." The Minister claimed it had been approved by the Ethics Commissioner. The Minister's statement at committee was patently false. It was patently false because, in fact, the Minister actively concealed from the Ethics Commissioner his connection to Navis Group. More specifically, the Minister's disclosure to the Ethics Commissioner conveniently hid behind a numbered company without disclosing that the numbered company was Navis Group. A statement from the Office of the Ethics Commissioner confirms that the Ethics Commissioner was unaware of the Minister's connection with Navis Group, and therefore the Ethics Commissioner was unaware that the company that was paying the Minister was simultaneously lobbying the Minister's department and successfully securing $110 million in grants for its client. So what we have, Mr. Speaker, is a shady deal, a shady arrangement that the Minister actively concealed from the Ethics Commissioner. When the Minister got caught, he attempted to misdirect by peddling the falsehood that it had been approved by the Ethics Commissioner, raising additional questions about the Minister's fitness for office. Since this scandal broke, the Minister hasn't had the guts to stand in this House once and answer questions. Instead, the Minister has been shielded by other ministers in this government who have dodged and deflected on the Minister's behalf. So, on behalf of Canadian taxpayers who have footed a $110 million bill to Navis Group, how much did the Minister pocket from Navis Group? Just a number. How much?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me be very clear and precise on this at the start. The Minister has always followed the strict ethic rules that apply to him as an elected official. Canada does, in fact, have one of the strictest ethic regimes in the world for elected officials, and that is exactly what Canadians expect. The Minister has always conducted himself in an ethical manner that follows the spirit and letter of those rules. The Minister has already addressed this matter, and I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, on that particular point, I'm going to reflect in terms of what I've witnessed from the official opposition virtually from day one. And when I say day one, what I'm talking about is the election was in the late 2015, and then virtually when the Prime Minister, our current Prime Minister became Prime Minister, the Conservative Party of Canada's focus has been purely on character assassination of whether it's the Prime Minister or other ministers, and they have been consistent on that. And it didn't matter what the circumstances are. They look, they'll look under every rock, and then they'll throw the word scandal. They'll throw all sorts of these negative words to try to create something. And often they will create something out of absolutely nothing. But they like to be able to get the headline that will say scandal. If they get a scandal, the headline, I think they get a gold star in the Conservative back room, possibly, Mr. Speaker. At the end of the day, there's some members, and I would classify my friend as one of them, is like a pit bull with a bone, and he just doesn't want to let go until he gets 5 gold stars. That's the type of attitude that I often see. Conservatives more focused on that character assassination than what is actually affecting Canadians. And what have we seen over the last 8-9 years as a government? We've seen a government that has actually been focused on things such as enhancing Canada's middle class and those aspiring to be a part of it. We've seen a government that's recognized the importance of the generational gap and the need to have that higher sense of fairness. We've seen budget legislation. We have seen other forms of legislation there to support Canadians, to have their backs, whether it's during the pandemic or during difficult times when issues such as inflation and affordability are there. We've seen a series of measures. We see that because no matter what it is that the Conservatives try to throw at the government in terms of character assassination, we continue to be focused on what's important to Canadians, Mr. Speaker. And I can assure you that going forward over the next 18 months or beyond, hopefully, Mr. Speaker, what we will see is a government that will continue to focus on the interests and be there to support Canadians in very real and tangible ways. And I suspect, Mr. Speaker, that we will still continue to see the Conservative Party look under every rock and see what they can find, put the word scandal and throw it around as much as they can in hopes that they'll be able to get that headline. Anything that tries to make this chamber look dysfunctional, anything that calls into question characters, whether it's justified or not, you can count on the Conservatives to stand and raise issues. And that's fine. They're in official opposition. They can do that, Mr. Speaker. But just be advised, as you continue to do that, we will continue to work and be there for Canadians in a very real way. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from St. Albert, Edmonton.
Mr. Speaker, the parliamentary secretary claimed that the minister addressed the matter. The minister has done no such thing. Indeed, the minister has refused to stand in this House and answer a single question. And when I asked him a question at committee, he misdirected by falsely claiming that it had been cleared by the Ethics Commissioner when the arrangement clearly had not been. Here are the facts. The minister was being paid by a firm which is owned by his business partner that was lobbying his own department that secured $110 million in federal grants to its client. That smacks of a conflict of interest. So I ask the parliamentary secretary, is he comfortable to stand in this House and tell Canadians that that is the low ethical bar set by this government?
The honourable parliamentary secretary.
What I am prepared to say, Mr. Speaker, is whenever you hear a Conservative say, here are the facts, beware. Because I can tell the member across the way, when I think of the pandemic and the billions of dollars that was spent on the pandemic, you'll hear the Conservatives, they'll find, a Liberal X company, or there was a Liberal that owns that particular company, received some sort of a grant. And oh my God, it's this huge scandal. And even though you will find that not only did some Liberal entrepreneurs, no doubt, but so did Conservative entrepreneurs. I suspect there might even have been some separatist entrepreneurs, New Democrat entrepreneurs. When you have contracts, you have procurements, you have things that are in place, you have a commissioner, an ethics commissioner. I take their efforts a whole lot more sincerely than I do from the Conservative opposition, because everything they see, they try to say things are broken, things are scandalous. That's nonstop since 2015.